Hello, Yawning Angel back again with another AMOS Pro video, and in this video we are going to continue looking at screen functionality within AMOS. This video follows on from my last video, which was all about parallax scrolling in AMOS and using the dual playfield command. The link to that video is up here. I suggest you go and watch it before watching this one if you haven't already done so. So we had some problems with the parallax scrolling in the last video, mostly around a little bit of sort of jerky screen movement, and some of the colors were a bit odd and behaving strangely. So in this video we're going to look to address those, mostly by looking at a series of commands including double buffering. This is getting interesting. So in order to overcome the issues we faced with the dual playfield and the parallax scrolling, we're going to need to make use of three commands, and that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. We're going to be looking at double buffering, Autoback, and screen swap. And trust me when I say we need to make use of all of those in order to make some headway with these challenges. Now, for those of you who watch these video tutorials regularly, you'll know that we may have touched upon double buffering before, back in a video where we were looking at bobs and sprites and moving them around the screen. A link to that video is up here. But please be aware we did not cover double buffering in any great depth. It was just merely a command to help move some things around a screen in a fluid manner. This time our challenges are a little bit greater because we're moving chunks of the screen around, hence we need to make use of all the three commands that I've mentioned already. But, Yawning Angel, you cry out. Well, maybe not, but you may be asking, is this going to be the perfect fix for our scrolling within AMOS? Will this get rid of things like screen tearing and jaggy movement? These are questions I've already been asked. Thanks for those comments, guys. All I can really say is we're going to do our best. Your mileage may vary, but watch the video and see what you get out of it and what you think. So without further ado, let's grab a cup of tea and dive on into the code. Okay, here we are. I've got a cup of tea, which I'm going to have a drink of. I just wanted to say I have had some comments about people who don't like to hear me slurping tea while doing these videos, but I'm still going to drink tea. I'll just edit out the slurping. There we go. Right. That's a good cup of tea, like that. So what I thought we'd do, what I've done, I've taken a copy of that last program, the program from the previous video, and just simplified it down. So I'm going to run this. I'm just going to explain what the problem we're facing is. So here is our star field has been created, and look at all the different colors. We've got blue, green. I want you to pay attention to the blue and the green specifically. So here it is, just stationary, nothing's happening. It all looks good. We're just using 8 colors in this. It's all happy days. Looks fine. Now if I press space, when I press space, the screen will start to scroll, and I want you to watch what happens to the green. So if I move the mouse pointer up to this green here, let's start scrolling. Look, there's a red, a brown, it's got a bit of a dingy green. Where have my blues gone? I've got these kind of double and triple pixels occurring here. If I stop it, all of a sudden the blues have come back. So let's pick one of these blues here, and if I start scrolling, it's turned into a red and a grey brown kind of thing. If I pause the scrolling again, the blues and the greens are back. See, it's just things aren't happy. Pixels are kind of doubling up. We've got a bit of flicker going on up here. This is clearly not acceptable, and if we had any graphic in here, this would be being corrupted as well. So that is our original problem, and that's what we're going to look to fix. So let me come out of that program a minute, and let me go all the way to the top. So what we're going to do, the code is pretty much as it was, but what I'm going to do is add in the commands. So we're going to start off with double buffering. We're going to see what difference that makes on its own. We're then going to look at Autoback, and then we're going to look at swapping the screens over. And we'll go through each step and look at each solution and see what difference that makes. Okay, so another mouthful of tea. I'll do that off camera, and then we'll crack on into the code. Right, so let's get into it. Double buffering. So double buffering is explained in the AMOS Pro Manual, page 070206, and I'll just read the intro to this. The double buffer command creates an invisible copy of the current screen and stores it as a logical screen. All graphics operations are now performed directly on this logical screen without disturbing your existing display at all. This is because the existing display on your television screen, don't forget this is quite an old manual, is taken straight from the original screen area and is now called the physical screen. So once the image has been redrawn, the logical screen and the physical screen are swapped over. That is double buffering in a very, very small nutshell. So what it's doing then, we tell it to double buffer, it does the moving operation on the logical screen, then flicks that over to the physical display. My suspicion is this is what's causing our flickering. So we need to do things to counteract that. But anyway, let's get on with this. So I have got some notes off to my side. I'm just referring to those. I've had a mouthful of tea off of camera, you'll be pleased to know, so no slurping. Right, so for each screen, I'm going to implement double buffer. So where I've got my screen definition, so screen open 1, so where I do my cursor off, paper, CLS, blah, blah, I put double buffer at the end of that. So I'm going to do exactly the same now for screen 2 and exactly the same for screen 3. Okay, so that is the double buffering implemented for all of those screens. So has that made a difference? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly save that and check there's no errors. So now I'm going to run the code and let's see what happens. I've got a blank screen. This isn't good. What? Oh, whoa! What's going on here? It's almost like this has taken a long time to render. Don't forget, it renders a star field and then it will start scrolling. So it's taken a long time to render, but the colors are looking good. Yeah. So now I'm going to press space to then instigate the scrolling, and look how jerky that is. That is terrible. And I've got a bogus pixel here. It doesn't even look like the back row is moving. I've got all of this flickering going on. So this is, I think we can safely say this is not happy. This is not working. If I pause it, oh, look at that. That's a car crash of a scroll, that is. I've got a completely blank area here. I've got this pixel which has been dragged along. That's obviously outside of my screen copy range. I've got a bit of a dull zone here, and I've got the full color, the complete, double star field thing going on here. If I press space again, I've got this incredibly bad flickery star field come in and all of this. No, this is not good. So I think we can safely say that double buffer on its own is not the fix, but we may need to add in some more commands, and this is where we're now going to take a look at the Autoback command. So let's get into that. Right, so we're going to look at adding in the Autoback command now, and Autoback can be found in the AMOS Pro manual at page 070306, where it details the Autoback command here. So the instructions for this are kind of geared around bobs and sprites, but it is important for any animation which is happening on a screen. So let's go through this quick read here. So standard bob routines only work if the logical and physical screens are in perfect harmony. The instant that text or graphics are drawn or the screen copy command is used, the two screens fall out of step with one another, which is exactly what we've got happening here. So I've got some graphics going in and I'm using the screen copy command. So AMOS Professional includes a powerful feature that automatically synchronizes all text and graphics operations with all bob updates. This means that once double buffer is activated, graphics and text can be displayed as normal. This is the principle of the Autoback system. So we're hopeful that Autoback can fix our problem. And what we need to do is tell AMOS to implement Autoback after each screen. So what we're going to do, not after each screen, sorry, we need to implement Autoback as once all the screens are drawn. Now, hold on tight because things can get a little bit confusing, so stick with me. So what I'm going to do here is implement the Autoback feature. Right. Now, you need to understand this. There are three modes to Autoback. 3 modes that this runs in. And it is trial and error in order to get the right one as far as I've found out. So we've got mode 0, which is manual mode. This mode deactivates the Autoback system completely so that graphics are drawn directly on the logical screen for maximum speed. It is recommended for use with the Bob Draw and Bob Clear command. Well, we're not using either of those. So Autoback 0 is useful when large amounts of graphics are drawn on screens being switched manually with screen swap. Now I want you to bear that in mind because we're going to come on to that later. So there's a mode 1, which is semi-automatic. In mode 1, Autoback performs all graphical operations on both logical and physical screens. Although Bob updates are not taken into account, and that suits us down to the ground because we're not using any Bobs, this is an ideal mode for displaying high score tables and control panels. There's a mode 2, Autoback 2, which is fully automatic. This setting reactivates the normal Autoback system. Under mode 2, whenever graphics are drawn on the screen, they will be synchronized with any active Bobs automatically. We're not using any Bobs, so I'm really not too bothered about that. So based on things, I'm kind of thinking it's either Autoback 0 or Autoback 1. I'm not too sure, but we're going to try all of them. So let's type the Autoback command, and that's really all it is. And we're going to go with mode 2. To start with. So rem, so that is fully auto. Okay, Autoback mode 2, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to run this. So we've got to wait because there's this delay while it draws the star field. So there we go. Here it comes. Da 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 da. And hopefully we've got the whole thing appearing. There we go. There's the star field in. So now I'm going to press space. Yeah, it's different. The colours, look at the colours. The colours have not changed. Okay, so if I pause that, we'll come back to this in a minute. The blues and the greens are still there. They're scrolling. Okay, so Autoback has made a difference. But now I've got this kind of flickery effect. I don't have a rogue pixel being dragged across the screen. If I pause it though, I've kind of got this blank space here again. So this is not perfect, but it is different in a kind of good way. So to me, we're heading in the right direction here. So let's stop that a minute. Let's go back up. Oops. So that was Autoback 2. So let's try Autoback 1, which is semi-auto. And what I'm going to do, I'm implementing Autoback 1, but I'm going to comment out the line for Autoback 2. Quickly check that. Quickly save it. So Autoback 1. So let's run this now and see what happens. We've got that wait again, this delay while it draws the star field, which is a little bit frustrating, but it's come up actually quite quickly now. So there was a delay and also it's like, boom, there you go. So now I'm going to press space and let's see what happens. Oh, I've got my rogue pixel back. Yeah, is it any better though? Has it made any difference? Look at it, I've still got this massive flickering stuff, but only on one of the screens because there's a screen in the background which is not flickering. If I pause it, I've still got this big blank space. It's not brilliant, is it? But yeah, is it any different? I don't know. So let's try our third option for Autoback and let's turn it off. Yawning Angel, why would you want to turn off a feature which should help you in some small way? Well, I looked at it this way. We've got to try all possibilities. So we're going to try Autoback 0 now, manual mode. So if I run this, so let's wait for the star field to be drawn any second now, Yawning Angel. Here it comes. There we go. There's my star field. It's being slow. I haven't got the whole star field. This is taking a time, isn't it? That's not good. Can I press space? Yeah, there we go. Press space. The colours are there though, aren't they? Look at that. The green and the blues are there, but I've got this flickering mess going on and I've got this big blank space. It's not happy. So Autoback on its own, or rather Autoback with double buffer is not the solution. So now we probably need to look at swapping a screen somewhere along the line. So we'll do that next. Now we're going to look at the screen swap command. So screen swap. In the AMOS manual, page 06, 02, 03. So remember one of the Autoback command said that we could use screen swap or swap screens around. So this is why I'm now looking at screen swap. So give you a bit of a read through the blurb here. In order to create really smooth moving graphics, your computer has to complete all new drawing operations in less than 1/50th of a second. So the AMOS professional programmer, that's you by the way, must achieve this speed, otherwise programs will suffer from an ugly flicker, which is exactly what we've got. We've got an ugly flicker. Don't tell everyone because they'll all want one. The problem is solved using a technique which switches between screens during the drawing operations. So we know that double buffer is taking our draw instructions or any graphical change instructions and doing them on the logical screen, and then it's flicking it back to the physical screen. So it's constantly doing this flickering backwards and forwards between logical and physical. So we need to kind of control that screen swap. So in my mind, it's a case of doing a screen swap when we're ready to do it. So if we look at our main loop here, we do our screen copy. So we screen copy from 2 to 1 and 3 to 1. So remember, screen 1 was our dumping ground. So that's referenced in the last video. Go back and watch it if you don't understand. And then what we do, we tell the loop, go to screen 3 and implement the first scroll, wait for the vertical blank line, and then go to screen 2 and implement our second scroll, because we've got 2 scrolls and they're moving at different speeds, and then we do a wait VBL. So what we're going to do now is, after we've done our switch to screen 3, and we've done our first scroll, what I'm going to do before the wait VBL is swap the screens. So swap screens, and we do this by implementing the command screen swap, and I'm going to tell AMOS to swap to screen 3. Let's line that up. So that's what we're doing. We're forcing a swap to screen 3. And then what I'm going to do, so we'll do our wait VBL, but then down here we go to screen 2, we implement our scroll, yeah? So before the next wait VBL, I'm going to swap screens again. And I'm going to tell AMOS to screen swap 2. Let's line that up. So we do our copy, we assign our next screen, so we go to screen 3, we do our scroll, we swap to screen 3, we wait for the vertical blank line, then we go to screen 2, we implement our second scroll, and then we swap to screen 2. Will this work, Yawning Angel? I don't know. Let's press F1 and find out. So here we go. Yeah, we've got our wait again for our star field to be created. I'm not too happy about this, but here it is. So now if I press space, interesting, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better. But our scrolling at the background isn't really happening, but our colors, if I pause it, we're not too bad. Yeah, look at that. We've actually got everything. We've lost that big blank empty space that we had. So once again, we're not perfect, but we're further along the line. This is definitely an improvement. So I think what we need to do now, sorry, I'm just going to keep pausing it and starting it again so you can see. I think now we need to go back and look at our Autoback, because currently our Autoback is set to 0. And I think if we change our Autoback to semi-automatic, that may fix the problem altogether. But that's just a hunch, or is it? So we're back with the Autoback command now. So we had this set to 0 for manual. So I'm now going to switch this to semi-auto. Semi-auto, okay? I'm going to save that, and now I'm going to run it. And we've still got to wait a time for our star field to be created. So this is not ideal. We need to address this. Stick with me. So there's our star field. So now when I move it, oh, look at that. So we've now got both screens are doing the scrolling. We've got that parallax scrolling effect, but it's still a bit jittery, isn't it? Look at it. We've still got this kind of stuttering as it moves, but we're definitely better. The colors are well, we're not too bad actually. We've got some flashing colors, because that's because one of the colors does flash. But our green is okay. A little bit stuttery. Look at the blues here. Yeah, it's kind of working. It's nearly there. We are so close. We're getting there. So now we need to do something with our Autoback. Now I made the mistakes, I have made a mistake, so hands up here everybody. I've just implemented Autoback here once, but it needs, well, I've implemented it once and it's only happening for screen 3. What needs to happen, where I define double buffer for each screen we opened, I now need to define Autoback for each screen as well. And I'll tell you how I know about this later, but what I'm going to do is quickly take this code here. So I want this line, so with Control B, Control S to store that. So what I'm going to do is after screen 2, I'm just going to Control P just to paste that in to implement Autoback for screen 2, and I'm going to do the same for screen 1, and I'm going to save that. So now we've got our screen 1 open, we double buffer, Autoback is set to 1, screen 2 is opened, double buffered, Autoback is set to 1, screen 3 is opened, and we implement Autoback 1 semi-automatic. So I've saved that, so let's run it and see what happens. Bang, our star field's there straight away. Look at that, it's instant. Now when I scroll, oh, look at it! Look, behold the wonder. Look at that, we've got it scrolling, and that's pretty smooth. Would you not say that it was pretty smooth? I'm pretty impressed with that. We've got a little bit of screen tearing going on here, just a little bit, but I think we might be able to fine tune that with where we're doing the copy from and to, maybe for a future video, I don't know. But do you know what? That's smooth scrolling, and I'm pretty happy with that. Look at it, the blues, that's pretty robust, those greens are pretty robust, and even the background, if I pause it, it's not looking too bad. We've still got a little bit of pixel doubling just on occasion on these whites. That could be down to my monitor and the resolution that I'm running it at, I don't know. But overall, that scrolling isn't too bad, and I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah, that's not bad. Pretty good. But there is one more thing I want to show you about the color palette, and I'm just going to do that very, very quickly. So we'll do that next. Okay, I've added in some extra code because what I wanted to show you was what happens to the color palette when we implement the dual playfield command. Now don't forget, as soon as we implement dual playfield, it takes one of our 8 colors that we've got defined and turns it transparent, and that has an impact on the color palette, and I wanted to demonstrate it. We're not going to do a solution for it in this video, that'll be for a future video, but I want to show you what is actually happening. So in my star field procedure here, once the star field's been created for each screen, what I'm doing is showing all 8 colors as they are for each screen. So just put a piece of code in here which is just going to dump out those colors and give us the numbers of those colors. Okay, so that when I run the program, it'll do the star field and it will show us what the color palette is at that point in time. Then what I've done, I've added a piece of code in up here. So where we do the call to this, create the star field, then we implement our dual playfield. But then what I'm doing, as soon as dual playfield is implemented, it's just going to print this message to the screen saying dual playfield has been set. And I want you to see what happens as soon as dual playfield comes on board. As soon as dual playfield command enters the party, something happens. Right, so let's run this. So here we go. This is, we're only seeing our top screen, which is probably screen 3 with our star field, but these are our colors. So screen 2, this is our color palette here, and screen 3, this is our color palette here. Colors 0 to 7, 8 colors. There we go. So those are the colors that we've got. Now I've put in a wait key command. So now if I press space, we're now going to go back up and the dual playfield command will now be implemented. And what I want you to do is watch what happens to this part of the screen here. Are we ready? Look at that. So 2 things you might have noticed there, 3 hopefully. The first thing is we get all the other pixels have now appeared because dual playfield has turned one of our colors transparent and is now showing us screen 2 and 3 overlaying each other. Happy days, we've got our star field has been created with all the colors set. But down here, look, the colors have gone muted, they've changed basically. And so the colors we're seeing here, we're not seeing up here. But dual playfield has now been set and has changed the colors in the palette. Basically, this is not ideal. Something weird has happened. So how do we go about fixing that? And that will be the subject for a future video, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. As things stand now, I can press space and my star field's still moving. It's moving, you know, there's a little bit of flicker, but I think it's, I'd say that's probably 95% better than it was when we first started. You know, if we remind ourselves as to what it did look like to what it looks like now, I think that is actually quite impressive. So I would take this as a win. I think we've fixed the problem mostly. So that's happy days. It's a win. All good. So some of you are probably asking, Yawning Angel, how did you come up with this solution? Well, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, and the answer is trial and error. I literally tried different combinations of those commands. I tried them in different places. I even took out the wait VBL command. It was a huge mess. I've been through quite an ordeal trying to get to this, and I'm happy to get to a solution. And essentially that's what all programming is about. Try different commands in different places, read up in the manual, work through things logically. And when I say read up in the manual, you know, wherever you can, I appreciate not everyone has a copy of the AMOS Pro manual, but it is available online. Have a search. Programming is meant to be fun, so just keep trying stuff and eventually you will get to a solution. AMOS Pro is a language that enables you to do that. So literally just keep stabbing away at things and you will get there. Or just continue to watch my tutorials, whatever works for you. So this isn't an ultimate solution, but it's as near as damn it, and I feel quite pleased with it. But if you can find a better way of doing it, please leave some comments down below and let me know. But at the end of the day, all programming is meant to be fun and you're meant to be enjoying it. So happy days. And that is it for another video. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you have any different ways of doing this or any better ways of doing it, feel free to leave comments down below and let me know. As I said, this isn't a perfect solution, but it's an improvement on what we had. So as you can probably imagine, there's more of these screen videos to come, and we'll look at addressing that color palette and getting it to fix properly. But that is for a future video. Don't forget the code for this program is available to download for free from my website. The link for that also is down below. Go check it out. Go to my website and you can download all the code for these videos for free if you wish to. If you want to support me in any way, I have a Ko-fi account. Link for that is up here. You can visit that if you wish to. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported me on Ko-fi so far. Thank you one and all. You are brilliant. Shameless plug time. Don't forget I do AMOS tutorials in Amiga Addict magazine. So each month there'll be a tutorial in there from me. The tutorials I do in there are some way behind these videos, but they're a great way if you're starting off in AMOS from scratch. Go and check them out. They are catered really at the ultimate beginner in AMOS, and they're quite enjoyable, and I've been getting a lot of great feedback from them as well. Right, I'm also on various social media channels. There's probably a list scrolling up the screen now, but all that's left for me to say is thank you ever so much for watching this video. Please feel free to leave comments down below, like and subscribe, all that great stuff. I will see you on the next video, and whatever you do, until then, keep safe and keep it retro.